let's start this interview quickly. What is your name and why are you here? Thank you. Thanks for having me. My name is Maura Supratman. This is a video for my English practical exam. So let's start quickly. What is your book and who is the author? Alright, so my book is Voices in Stone. It is written by Emily Diamond. Okay, interesting. So could you briefly describe us the genre and setting of the book? So the story focuses on fictional beings such as ghosts and aliens, and it takes place in the future, maybe a few years ahead from now on. Okay, get it. Can you provide us a concise summary on the book and some major events? Okay. In my book, it tells us the story of Isis Dumber, a girl who can see ghosts due to coming back to life after an incident that happened during summer break. At school, her friend who was with her during that incident, Gray, was ignoring her, and in her class she was often bullied for being a dead girl. While seeing ghosts, Isis eventually makes a new ghost friend named Mando, and she can now talk to her deceased sister, Angel. Isis, Gray, Manville, and Angel go on an adventure to find out the truth behind students seeing ghosts of themselves. Apparently, they found out because of those ghosts appearing to them was because of alien dust accidentally coating them with its energy. They get the alien away safely from humans trying to drill it alive. And things get better from there. Isis and Gray's parents got married, which makes them siblings, and Isis making friends. There were no more students having ghostly incidents anymore, and more today. Interesting. Cool. So, who are the main characters again, and how do they get involved throughout the story? Isis. She's the main character of the story. As I mentioned before, she had an incident which was supposed to make her die, but her mother somehow revived her, but also gives her the ability to see ghosts. And though people believe that she was actually lying and either way called her a dead girl. So at the start, she was very confused of her ability to see ghosts, as obviously it isn't a natural thing to do. And throughout the story, she learned to accept her powers and use them for good things. 2. Jess. No, Gray, Isis' friend, who started to ignore her prior to the start of the story. But eventually he decides that he shouldn't ignore people for no reason and also accept Isis' ability and not get kicked out. There are many other characters that learn new things. As an example, Jess, she is Isis' bully. She learns that what she is doing is wrong and apologizes to her, and they eventually become best friends. Okay, so what are some of the central themes that were explored in the book? Themes of this book include fictional creatures, paranormal activities, and some friendship familial problems. And do any of those themes include real life or societal issues? In the story, we also see Isis and Gray having some familial issues. For example, both Isis and Gray's parents were divorced, but eventually Isis' mother and Gray's father both end up getting happily married, which makes Isis and Gray step siblings. Okay, get it. How does the author's writing style contribute to the overall impact of the story? The author's writing style, in my opinion, is very impactful to the book. You may ask why. So, I'll explain. In the story, Isis and Gray, despite being two of the main characters, are often separated or are in different settings at the same time. For us to know and experience what each of them are going through, we get to read both of their perspectives. Yes, both Isis and Gray. So, how it works is that it doesn't just spontaneously change point of view. In each chapter, the perspectives may change from either Isis or Gray. Are there any literacy techniques that impress you? Mm, well, one thing that stood out to me was the changing point of view. Although there is something that I didn't quite understand. When it is Isis' perspective, it uses third person perspective. But in Gray's, it uses first person perspective. But regardless, I still find it really interesting and a great idea to do that. I see. So, is there any intriguing or relatable character in the story? Like you feel? My personal favorite character is Gray. This guy. So, he is a realistic and funny, grounded character. He has made a few mistakes, such as leaving ISIS so suddenly, but his reasons were clear and reasonable, realistic to what a real average person would do. And he makes up for his actions. Gray also has a sense of justice, such as when finding the alien, he didn't want to leave the alien as he knew that alien would be killed by the the antagonist, even though it has caused Gray to have shrieking hallucinations of himself. Hmm. Are there any character transformation or character arcs that could be worth noting? If there was a character who really went through a change throughout the story, I would say Isis' best friend by the end of the story, her former bully, Jess. So, Jess went from a bully, calling names to people and using Isis to get closer to the seniors. But after seeing the cause of what she had done, Jess really regrets it and apologizes for it to Isis and to everyone. Jess is also someone who dearly misses her grandma, and she felt happy with Isis as she could once again speak to her former grandmother. So, anyways, could you share any personal insights or experiences that this book might have brought you to mind? Well, I don't think I ever died, so I don't think so. So, okay. There were some moments where I did feel a little relatable. It's not that I went through the exact same experience, it's more of an understanding of what the characters are feeling. Like, you feel empathy towards it. Like, as an example, is when Isis confronts her mom about her dead sister Angel. Okay. Well, so overall, what emotional impact did the book make you feel? There were a few moments that made me feel a bit teary, but as an overall book, I felt satisfied with the ending, and I felt that the ending was a good resolution to all the conflicts that they had throughout the story. Okay. If the book was made into a movie or like TV show, how does the visual adaptation compare to the written version? I think the story's writing style would fit perfectly as a movie adaptation. The switching between character point of view would be natural, as many films do that already. And in the book, when they encounter the alien is often described as a large creature made up of Earth's strongest metals, and they often get nauseous when trying to look for it. I imagine that scene recreated into a movie would have very bright and colorful colors and imagery. Maybe not suitable for all viewers, but I still think it would be cool. Okay, so between the book and the movie, are there any differences in the scenes? How would they affect the main plot? It's not a movie. Right. So, what aspects of the book did you find particularly effective or impressive? I am very impressed with the amount of detail and figurative language used in the book. It's a book about ghosts, and since they are fictional beings and I have never seen a ghost, I wouldn't know how they would be like, or seem, or feel like. But with the book's use of metaphors and similes, I get to understand or basically have a visual of what those fictional creatures would be like. Were there any elements that you didn't find them much convincing or less enjoyable? I don't really have a problem, but if I really think about it, I was a bit confused at times. Like when Gray suddenly has a voice in his head, which apparently turns out to be Isis's father. But despite the confusion, I was still able to read the book with understanding. So, summarize the key takeaways from your analysis. Okay, so let's keep it short and simple. After an incident during summer break, Isis dies and revives somehow, but that leaves her in a state that's between life and death, which makes her see ghosts. At school, she is rumored to be possessed, which drives people away from her, including her friend Gray. In Gray's class field trip, him and his friends were accidentally sprinkled with metals from an alien, basically alien dust, that makes them hallucinate versions of themselves, which they assume are ghosts and the aftermath of Isis and Jess's ghost meetings, which actually isn't their fault. But those ghost meetings were dangerous anyways, as and they eventually stopped doing that. Isis, Grey, Angel, Isis' dead sister, and Manfil, a ghost that Isis met. They go to the mining area where Grey got that alien dust from. And as the professors were about to drill the alien hiding underground, they were able to save the alien by getting it away somewhere safer. And those hallucinations eventually got removed. Isis also starts to lose her ghost seeing ability, but nonetheless, she ends up living happily with her new friends and family. Okay, so do you have any final thoughts or messages you'd like to share to us? The book was really interesting and a fun, simple read for those who are interested in ghosts and stuff like that. The story was paced nicely and the climax was nicely put. The resolution was fitting and overall, it's a good book. Okay, but it's great to have you here. So, are there any last things you want to say to the audience? Well, go read it. So, okay, specifically, as I said before, this book is kind of easy for those who want to start reading again or those who find to be struggling with reading books. But yeah, it's a decent book. And if you have any more questions, you can ask me now.